Hey guys, Jfarr here. In this video, I'll be going over everything to know about the gunplay and recoil pattern changes, including the hit markers, directional indicators, recoil pattern comparisons, and how attachments now affect each gun. Hit markers have made their introduction into Rust. They act the same as most FPS games, where when you hit any other player or NPC, a small indicator will flash in the center of your screen. This feature can be turned off along with the crosshair in the options menu if you do not want to use it. The next gunplay change are directional indicators, which are a form of player feedback given when you are damaged in any sort of way. A small red indicator will show up in the direction that you are damaged. This feature will become extremely useful for situations where you need to pinpoint exactly where you're being shot from. Almost every weapon has seen changes made to its recoil pattern. The majority of these changes include a simplified recoil pattern with an easier to control vertical and horizontal recoil. Let's start with the pistols. Within the pistol category, the M92, Revolver and Python have seen an increase or negligible change to their base recoil. Finally, the semi-auto pistol has seen a drastic decrease to its base recoil when compared to the other weapons. Here's a before and after for each pistol's base recoil. Here we can see barely any change between the old and new recoil system. This gun will not see many changes to how players use it. Looking at the changes, you can see a massive decrease to the vertical recoil, making the semi-pistol a more reliable sidearm. Along with the quick deploy time, this gun can be a nice backup if you run out of ammo during a gunfight and don't have time to reload. When analysing the spray pattern, we can see not much has changed, but possibly a slight increase to the vertical recoil. This gun will not see many changes to how players use it. The recoil has changed quite a bit with the M92. It now requires more adjustment than before and a higher vertical and horizontal recoil. This gun will most likely be used for strictly close quarters. The M92 features a high capacity magazine with high fire rate, so spraying this may save you in certain situations. Moving on to our fully automatic weapons, we have the SMG category. The MP5, Thompson and Custom have seen increases to their vertical recoil, but seen overall less horizontal recoil. Let's look at a before and after for each SMG's base recoil. Within the SMG category, the MP5 has seen the most significant change. Since the MP5 used to have a very distinct recoil pattern, it had to be changed quite a bit to move it in line with the rest of the recoil changes. It now has an easier to control upward spray, but still has more vertical recoil than before. The Thompson's new recoil is similar to the original, but now has more horizontal recoil when standing and less when crouched as the gun continues to fire. The custom SMG now features a slightly higher vertical recoil. The main advantage comes from the new recoil being more consistent. The original can be seen slowing down as it gets later into its spray, while the new recoil will continue to go up at the same rate. Now to move on to the big boys. Out of the rifles in the game, the automatic LR300 and assault rifle have received higher vertical recoil, while the semi and M39 have decreased or stayed the same. Both the LR and AK have seen their learnable recoil patterns removed for a more linear and slightly random spray. Let's now get a better understanding by looking at the before and after for each rifle's recoil. The AK has received a substantial increase to its vertical recoil when standing, but is easily compensated by moving down and to the left slightly. From testing, it seems the first 3 shots are still very accurate, but past that it proceeds to the right. Later into the spray, the horizontal recoil will slow down and it will become easy to control. So it's best to start off pulling straight down, quickly switch to pulling left, and gradually slowing down how much you're pulling left. The LR300, similar to the AK, has drastically changed how it operates. It will now pull up in a straight line when compared to the original, with a 4 times increase to its vertical recoil when standing. However, the horizontal recoil is almost completely gone, making it one of the easiest weapons to use. The semi-auto rifle's new horizontal recoil remains similar to the original, now slightly pulling left instead of right. However, the big change is its vertical recoil, which appears to have been reduced by around half when standing. This now makes it a fierce weapon to spam tap enemies. Finally, for the rifles we have the M39, which strangely enough doesn't look to have changed at all. Both the old and new continue up in a straight line with a little horizontal deviation. Finally, we have the LMGs, which include the M249, which received a large recoil reduction, and the new handmade LMG. We will compare the new handmade LMG and the M249. Both the old and new recoil for the M249 look very similar in their path. However, when we shoot only 15 bullets, we can see the vertical recoil has been close to cut in half. This is especially obvious when crouched, since we can see how clustered the new recoil is compared to the old. As the handmade LMG is a new addition to the game, we cannot compare it to the previous recoil. However, looking at it side by side with the M249, we can see it requires a lot more work to keep centered. You'll need to continuously pull right, especially after the first 3 to 4 bullets. We'll now have a look at each attachment that affects the weapon's recoil, using the AK as our test sample. The hollow sight provides a 2x zoom with a 20% aim cone reduction. This reduces the spread in which your weapon's bullets will deviate from the spray. Here is a comparison with and without the hollow sight for the AK. The silencer provides both a 20% aim cone reduction and 20% recoil reduction. But this comes with some downfalls, being a minus 25% to the accuracy of bullets and a 25% damage decrease. The silencer also removes your bullet traces and hit direction, so people have a much harder time knowing where they're being shot from. Here is a comparison with and without the silencer for the AK. The weapon's laser sight provides a 20% reduction to the aim cone when equipped and aiming, along with a 50% reduction to the hipfire aim cone. Here is an example with and without the laser sight attached to the AK. The muzzle boost will increase your rate of fire by 10%, but will decrease your damage and velocity by 10%. Overall, this will bring the AK's 375 DPS down to 371. The muzzle boost will also cause your weapon's recoil to move straight up later into the spray, making it hard to learn a weapon's recoil pattern. Here is a comparison with and without the muzzle boost for the AK. If your main concern is recoil, the muzzle brake will be your go-to attachment. At the cost of damage, aim cone and bullet velocity, we gain a 50% reduction of recoil. Here is a comparison with and without the muzzle brake for the AK. The best setup for recoil reduction, accuracy, damage and stealth is the laser sight, hollow sight and silencer. Together these will reduce the weapon's aim cone by 60% and recoil by 20%. Let's see how a fully kitted weapon compares to its standard counterpart. If you'd like to see more on attachments, I have a dedicated guide where I go through each one, its stats and uses. Overall, the new recoil changes have shrunk the skill gap required, allowing more players to be involved in gunplay. Whether you like it or not, I think it's good we're seeing changes like this by the developers, as it keeps the game interesting, giving us a reason to hop back in and try it out again. Now, don't stress about recoil patterns or aim training servers when you pick up an AK, just use it and have fun. Thanks guys for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.